Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Division 3 again tonight here at Singapore in what I believe is going to be a wet race, which should be fun. I'm joined by Justly this week, and yeah, we're just getting started in qualifying in what I believe is the last race before the winter break, isn't it? So the drivers will want to carry the advantage through into the second half of the season.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be back in the commentary pit. And yes, indeed, that is the last round before Christmas break. So, yeah, everyone wants to end this year in a high.
And not to mention Monza as well. It's going to be the next race after the break is going to have a sprint race, which will make things interesting as well, because the reverse grid sprint will mean the championship leaders have to fight their way through a little bit. Mihai currently is the championship leader. He's got a 10-point advantage over Viral after his win in Spa last week. And I'm sure Viral will be hoping to retake that if he can. With Harley there just invalidating through Sector 1. Maxi's actually invalidated as well. So a few drivers struggling with these white lines early on in qualifying. Mihai is so far keeping it valid as he heads up towards turn number 7. But what do we have as predictions for pole, do you reckon? And who's going to be fully committed to a wet setup? Who's going to try and risk it out on the dry?
Yeah, tough to call the setup thing, because if it's gonna be a wet to dry thing or other way around, it depends on how long the weather's gonna stick. But for my prediction for pole, I would actually go for Flavors this time.
He was pole last week, wasn't he? I think.
Yeah, I think he was, and he's always a guy who you need to consider on raw pace.
Yeah, 100%.
He's always strong in qualifying, so always a safe guess.
Yeah, and you could also definitely chuck Viral, Mihai into the mix. Those two are two names you can never really get away from in Division 3. 29.6 as your first run there, coming from Mihai. Ackerson with a 30.2. And then Aussie Dre coming into the last corner as well. To be the third driver across the line, he does a 29.8, go only a couple of tenths behind Mihai. So, yeah, that first run posted by the championship leader is there, and it's still the provisional pole time action break with a 31.9. But it's definitely not unbeatable as I say that, as Viral goes fastest with a 129.4. Definitely another driver who's right there in the mix for contending for pole. 30.9 there from Lucas. Edwin at 129.4. You can never count him out either. Especially the street circuit, Edwin will always be there.
Yes, and Edwin takes provisional pole by 1,000.
It's very tight between those two who are fighting it out in Baku. Pix has lost both of his end plates, having gone into the wall at some point around the lap, so that's a bit less than ideal. And we're just wondering how much the drivers will have in terms of fuel in the car for going for a second run for those who have validated. Like Maxi here coming around the last sector, has had the fuel to go again. He's going across the line now, but especially with how long the track is, Maxi had to go fastest there, having done 2 runs on, or 2 laps on those soft tyres. Will be a little bit worse for wear than those of some of the others, but evidently still good enough for him to go P1. Again, less than a tenth, it separating the top 3. It's all very close up there. But if you only put like 1.8 laps of fuel in, I think that would be roughly what the minimum is at such a long circuit of Singapore. You never know. You could be in a bit of trouble if you invalidate the first run. Marcelo is actually invalidated again, so he might have gone right at the last corner, I'm not sure. So he'll probably be back into pit lane. So far, only 8 drivers with valid laps. A few of them invalidated, a few of them simply just haven't gone out yet. One such driver being Flavors, who's just heading through the middle sector now on his outlap. So far yet to start his first run. He might not have time for 3 runs in that case, depending how much time is left. Pix has disconnected. Oh,
Wait, I can
yeah,
re-invite him.
yeah, I've got him. Yeah, so Flavors is just on his outlap. Marcelo is still out there. He's on a lap at this stage. Maxi just in front of Flavors heading back into the pit lane. Davido has just started. Will be his first quali lap of the session as well. And there's also O-Eyes, who's heading through Sector 1. You can't count him out in the fight for pole, as Davido is reversing through Turn 7, just as O-Eyes comes into shot. Definitely can't count O-Eyes out of the fight for pole. Neither Flavors. Anyone in the current 4 could very much be there. That's what's so great about Division 3, is it's so open. It can go anyone's way on a different week, just depending on what track suits them more. Because there's no one that's like as hyper consistent as you might see, possibly in Div 1. Which, you know, it's not taking a jab at the drivers. It's just it's more open because there isn't one person that's gonna be constantly winning every week.
If it just makes the whole thing a lot more exciting, because you have every week some new drivers being at the front because the track suits them, so it is a positive thing. As you can see, always crossing the line now as professional pole with a 29.117, 2/10 up over Maxi.
Also got Flavors coming down into the last chicane. It's so important to get this one right because it's just hooking the rest of the lap together. It's at that point in the lap where you've been going for so long, you feel like it's got to end eventually, and then you just got that one last chicane to navigate. Flavors goes P5, which is a little bit lower than you might have hoped for, but there's still 8 minutes in the session, which will be enough time for him to do another run. He won't have time for 3. But he'll get another run in. Those heading out now should have enough time to do the 3 runs. But Flavors, I wouldn't think so. I think he's just going to be on the 2, which could work out in his favour, depending how the rain goes. If he can put on a soft set in the race. I doubt the soft is very good here. Although, to be fair, not many tyres are very good here, from what I recall.
Yeah, if the race would be completely dry, it's probably a one-stop still, but you not have much to play with in terms of tire wear. I would say a lot would also stick to the 2-stop, but with the rain, it's gonna be interesting because it always makes the cards, and tough to judge how the rain is gonna come down and when.
Yeah, 100%. Especially if the rain's around the pit stop time, or
and Bazooka! Ooh! Crashed into the back of Davido.
Ooh.
He's
lost a bit of his wing.
He completely shot it into his back. He just didn't see him coming at all. And yeah, 5-place grip penalty, which is totally reasonable, because Davido just parked his car on the apex without noticing Bazooka coming. So weird situation between these two that will probably go down to the stewards after the race after all.
Possibly, yeah. Mihai went fastest, all of that's going on, but O-Eyes is a further almost 3 tenths up on his personal best coming into the last sector, so could very well retake that provisional pole did Aussie post a new time recently? I think he did, yeah.
Yes,
TNT3.
he is, yeah.
As OI is now coming through the last couple of corners. He goes round on what was quite possibly set to be a provisional pole time. He's gone round what is pretty much a flat-out corner on this game. I think he turned the battery on pretty much on the apex of that corner, and the rear of the car was not having it. And it's a straight pirouette. And that could have very well been a pole time there. Or at least a provisional pole. Because he was 2.7 tenths up coming into the last sector. Will that cost him in the long term? As Viral now goes into second place. And it's second to fourth within half a tenth as well. It's all very close, as always. As that's the Ferrari of Edwin, who has run out of fuel and invalid ATT is coming back into the pit lane. Marcelo's there just on an outlap. Davido. That's not Davido, that's Harley. Yeah, just Pixar pointed out in the chat that Davido's in the McLaren, which he is not meant to be in. Davido is a V-Cup driver. I assume it was he joined late and forgot to select his car. Or something to that effect. And now Davido's driving for McLaren. Davido's not the only V-Cup driver to have driven in McLaren, so I had to do it from Div 1 Austria, because my game would crash every time I selected V-Cup. I would click V-Cup and my game would just close.
That's
Yeah, it was interesting, so I just tried to
reasonable glitch, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but Marcello now heading down through Sector 1, a tenth and a half up on his personal best. But he's actually quite a long way slower than everyone else. So he went wide there, he's got away with it. Which I think he can consider himself quite lucky for, to be honest. Yeah, but he does need to find a decent bit of time to improve. He's about... Actually, he's over a second off the next car. So... yeah, it'll be a lot of improvement required on this lap. Edwin's just come out of the pits, as that's Davido, who I think might have just gone straight on coming out of the pit lane, which isn't ideal. With 3 minutes 10 to go, those coming out now won't be going back in again. They'll be going out slightly early for their last runs. Just getting themselves prepared, making sure they get something in. Marcello is 7 tenths up as he comes through into the last couple of corners, hoping to not repeat what OI's just did of having his pirouette around the last corner. It's crossed the line for Marcello. It's a second found, but he's still sitting there 7 tenths off the next car. Down in P11. Not where he'd want to be at all. Lucas there is out of fuel, heading back into the pit lane. I'm not sure if he's going to have enough time to go again. It's going to be tight. There's the yellow flag for him, so he can't see how long is left. 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Oh no, that is.
If
that's
he does,
not going to be
it'll
enough. No.
seconds if he makes it. But I think the pit lane at Singapore is just too long. I don't think he's going to make it. Here comes Edwin. Definitely in the fight for pole. He's about 4 tenths off at the moment, which is what he needs to find around this lap. Does the Ferrari driver as he sets it off through turns 1, 2, and 3 before you get to the first short straight of the circuit. Now it's turn number 6. Turn number 5. Sorry, I have to get it. It really does impact your run all the way down into 7. Have to get the exit right through that corner. Carry as much speed as you can. And Edwin's a little bit down on his personal best through sector 1, but that is not to worry, because really most of the time in the lap comes from the middle sector. So he just needs to hope that he can find that little bit more time as he rotates us through turn number 9, heading down into the old Singapore sling section. He's taking a lot of that curve on the inside line. Edwin playing it a little bit safe as he heads into this slow speed, really quite clumsy section of racetrack into the hairpin. Turns in a little bit early. That's going to compromise his run as he goes all the way down to first gear with the DRS now heading up into turn 14. And we see he's a tiny little bit up on his personal best now. And he's going to hope there's a lot more time than that in the final sector, because otherwise he's not going to be making much improvement at all. He's got his teammate just in front of him. Is he going to get out of the way? I'm not sure if Marcelio did well enough. As he goes into the wall there trying to get out of the way of Edwin, who bangs into the wall, coming out of turn 17, coming around the last couple of corners. Foot to the floor as he crosses the line. He improves, but by under a tenth it's only enough for him to go up into P5. Axton there is going to make the line with a few seconds spare. Davido has invalidated. He's not going to be setting another run here. He's got Bazooka just behind him again. Obviously, Mihai, almost 3 tenths up, coming across the line. He improves by 3 and a bit tenths to a 128.6. And now, hold provisional pole by almost half a second. Otherwise, hasn't made the line, unless the game's lying to me there, as Aussie goes into P2 with a 128.7. The game might just be lying to me, because it's not got checker flag, it just says outlap. Pro eyes. It's Maxi, almost half a second up, coming into the last couple of corners. He needs 7 tenths if he wants to take pole away from Mihai, but only a few tenths required to get right up into that fight as he comes across the line. It's P3, right behind his teammate, 3 tenths off, but that's more than enough for him. He just needs to hope that those around him aren't going to be improving. Flave's going to be next to the line. He's up by less than a tenth as he crosses the line. He's most likely won't be enough to bump him up a few positions. He finds time in that final set to go into P6. Vire across the line. He can't do enough either. It's only P3 with a 28.7. He splits the Saubers. And Owais across the line. 29.1. I don't know if it actually counted a time at all. I think it did. As he goes P5. Axon's invalidated, and so that should be all we see from qualifying as Bazooka is not
Bazooka
deploying. He
no,
should
he's
go
not.
ahead of
Davido isn't.
Although I'm not sure. Will he beat Davido? He's got about 10 seconds in order to make it to the line. Davido with a 135 there. Yeah, Bazooka will be starting 15th and last in this qualifying session, but it's Pole for Mihai, Aussie in second place, and Viral in third. And all of them within 1/10 of Mihai's lap. So it's very close. And we'll get the dynamic of the wet race, which should swing in favour of Viral.
Yeah, the odds are obviously for Viral, because he's well known as a good rain driver, but it's still Singapore, and yeah, in the rain even more, overtaking is very difficult. So the first few laps are gonna be very decisive for the race already.
Yeah.
And yeah, Mihai has to defend the first position at all cost on the getaway. And then look how the pace is with the guys around him.
Yeah, completely agree. It's going to come down a lot to the first few laps. If it starts dry, the dry stint will be crucial for the race, because that's when you can actually overtake. If it's a full wet race, it will be more interesting in terms of... Yeah, it's raining already. Oh, it's chucking it down.
It's raining already, and...
Will people start the wets?
Is it heavy wet?
It's pretty much never full wets. Even, like, it's probably is full wet conditions. Yes. But give it 2 laps and there'll be a dry line and the instant will be faster.
I mean,
who's starting the wets?
If this race would be at the start of F1 25, then there would be a lot of drivers going on full wets. But I think by now, most of the guys should know that the full wets don't work.
I'm traumatized from my first league race on this game. It was basically these conditions. It was wet to dry, and it was definitely full wet conditions for about 2 laps. And like I started on wets. It's not going to dry up. I don't think, because the last tile rarely comes. I think it's going to be a full wet race. Because Pick's close to the weather. It's heavy rain clouds for the first 4 tiles. Then it's 2 light rain tiles. Then it's cloudy. It's going to be a full wet race.
Right then,
rain
the
throughout.
lap has started, and I must say, the
And most people are on the inters. Harley, Lucas, Action, Rick, Davido, and Bazooka on the full wets. They're going to be fast at the start, but they're going to struggle once that dry line forms. They're going to have to make a stop quite promptly. But yeah, all of the top 7 on the inters, so there's going to be no surprises there.
The drivers will be hoping to get a strong start. They'll want to earn some valuable points.
So yeah, it will definitely be inters after a few laps. It won't be yet.
Race engineers, ensuring their planned strategies are all
It's
in
gonna. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Apparently I'm quite quiet. There you go. Let's do that. Turn the mic up a little bit. So yeah, it will be very difficult for these drivers at the start, but should get a little bit nicer. Track should dry up as the race goes on, and we'll see how it goes. Fire lights, they're the drivers here in Singapore. In the rain, who's going to get it right? It's lights out, and away we go, and Aussie does seem to have got a pretty good start there, but I think Mihai's got him covered as they head into turn 1. Mihai seems to lead them away as Aussie gets second place. Viral hangs on to third, but he's almost pushing Aussie through the first few corners. Someone's gone off there. That's Owise into the wall at the exit of turn 1 and 2. He's lost a bit of his front wing and facing the wrong way. That's disaster for the Mercedes driver. Mihai drifting through turn 5. Might have even gone a little bit outside the track limits there on the entry, which is going to be a pain long term if he has. Harley there on the wet tyres getting up into 5th place. He's going to fall quite quickly as it starts to dry up later on, which it will, as Picks all the way up to now fighting with Flavors under braking into turn 7. So there you go, wheel to wheel. In towards 8 now. Picks on the outside, Flavors on the inside. Is going to be enough space for the two of them? It just about is. It's a great battle between the two, and I think Picks has got enough to move up into 6th place. Edwin's going to try and follow him through, and does so. Picks into 6th, Edwin 7th, Flavors down to 8th, but he's going to keep fighting with Edwin. Is he going to quite have enough? He goes drifting wide off the circuit, and he has to concede down into 8th place. Mihai leads by 1.1 seconds as we go halfway through lap 1. Viral not able to find a way past Aussie just yet. He's going to want to at some stage if he wants to have a chance in this race. He's going to have to get himself past before too long. Obviously, no DRS in the rain makes it very difficult. And it's still got the same dirty air. It's still just as hard to follow. It's just, there's the extra factor of the rain. As Owise has gone off again into the barriers at turn 14. And his race has gone from bad to worse. He's got no front wing now. And to be honest, I won't be surprised if you see him in the pit lane retiring at the end of this lap. Disaster, really, for the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, not in general, not a season that I was probably expected. A bit disappointed from his consistency, which was a really good thing for Always in the past, especially in higher divisions. But this season in Division 3, he just can't get his races together.
Yeah, the big one I think was Austria, because he was so scorchingly fast and then it all went wrong. He's pitted,
Yes,
he's gone on to a set
exactly.
of the wets, changed his front wing, but he is carrying on. It's a double stack at Mercedes, which isn't going to help him. But he's got going again. On those wet tyres, he's not giving up. And it's a long race. It's Singapore, there's going to be someone who dies. Or you'd assume so. So yeah, there's no point giving up just yet, when there's still a long way to go. And you never really know what's going to happen in a Division 3 race. especially not at a street circuit. Felix asking what Harley's doing on wets. In wide room at the start, at least, he's up. Well, how much is he up? He's up 3 positions.
2 positions?
Yeah. Picks up 4 on the inters. You know, and Harley looks quite quick at this stage because it is still probably for wet conditions. We've not got to the dry line forming just yet, but give it some time and it will. And those wet runners will begin to drop off quite substantially, you'd imagine. Mihai almost sliding through the last corner, but Aussie stays with him. Viral doesn't really have the pace at this stage, which is interesting. And he's there in third, 1.9 seconds behind, and doesn't seem to be getting any closer for the time being. And he might find the time later on, as Davdo and Marcelio might be having a bit of a battle. Davdo on those wets is definitely helping him. Yeah, Harley's keeping up with Maxi at this stage, but that is the benefit of the full wet tyres that will be better for the time being. But you can already start to see the dry line there, especially from this camera angle. And that's just a perspective of how far otherwise it's behind as well, as you saw him going through turn 14 there, as these guys were through turn 8. So pretty much half a lap behind right now. Aussie does seem to be faster than Mihai at this stage, but so far, no way through for the Sauber driver. And it'll be difficult to find one unless Mihai makes a mistake. Because it's so difficult to stay close through Singapore, and you have to do it on one of the few straights on this track. There's only really one overtaking opportunity. So you have to be so much quicker in the last sector.
Much, yeah.
Especially in the wet, there's only the one real opportunity. But he definitely seems to be faster, and he's closed that gap right the way down. Is everyone on 50-50? Quite possibly. And that will make it rather difficult to overtake. It is the fastest lap of the race from Aussie there, but is it going to be enough? He's sitting 7 tenths behind going onto going through sector 1. He's going to need a lot more than that if he's going to want to get past. Has to be pretty much pushing him through this section to have a chance to move, with how everyone's wings will be so similar. If there was a chance to be on lower wings, maybe he could get a move, but he's on pretty much the same wings as everyone else. As Bazooka and Lucas going to go side by side through the first sector. You can see them both drifting their way around as they go side by side through turn number 5. As Bazooka moves in front from the back of the grid up to P9, but he's going to have to make a stop before everyone else. And it could work out for the wet runners, to be honest, because no one's going to go to the end of the race. Like, no one's doing 31 laps on the intermediates. No way.
No, sure. It also depends on how long the heavy rain is gonna stay.
Mihai's just hit the heavy there.
I mean, if this heavy rain is gonna last for the time that the inters are gonna last anyway,
yeah,
they can use the tire advantage now and then later on just move on to the inters and be on par in terms of tire performance with the others.
The inters don't wear too much in these conditions. It's when it starts drying up that the interwear becomes really high because they overheat and then they burn out so quickly. But yeah, Mihai hit the wall quite heavily coming through turn 12 there on the left-hand side. He doesn't seem to have damage, but it cost him a lot of time. He's got Aussie right behind him now, and Viral's closing in. But I don't think Aussie's going to be close enough for a move through Sector 1. Or into Sector 2. It might have to be a race of just waiting out the penalties. If you're someone like Aussie, just sitting there in second. Bazooka's in already. That's quite possibly a sign of the full wet performance.
Yes, because you can see the heavy rain is gone already. It's gone to light rain. The dry line is starting to form, but not yet. But it's not raining enough for the full wets to perform.
Yeah.
So yeah, the gamble probably didn't work as much as they hoped for.
Apparently, in full wet conditions, the inters wear less than 1% a lap, according to Alex. Which, yeah, the interwear isn't bad.
Which can be, yeah.
Until you get to when it
Which can be
starts drying
possible,
up.
yeah.
Obviously, these guys will most likely have higher tyre wear than Alex did. But that still gives an indication that the tyres just don't wear at all. Like, when they're that cold as they would be in full wet conditions, at least. When you get to the point, probably close to now, when it starts drying up, he's also going to think of a move here. He's going to be a little bit too far back, but he's close. Mihai seems to be starting to struggle as the track begins to dry up and the dry line begins to form. Aussie and Viral are gaining quite a lot of confidence, especially relative to the Williams driver. Edwin's just got
Oh, Edwin.
10 second for corner
10
cutting.
seconds.
Yeah, did he just skip the chicane?
And yeah, and he passed Harley. Maybe he will get another penalty for overtaking another one off track.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Exactly.
20-second penalty for Edwin, because he's just ignored a chicane and he's not giving it back. Don't know if he just got frustrated behind. I don't know, just got frustrated behind Hartley and just decided he wanted to get a move on. This pick's going to go for the move here on Harley. Yeah, you can see how much it's drying up. Those full wets don't look very nice anymore. As everyone on those wets is starting to put into the pit lane. Harley and Owise are the only two still out there on the blue wood tyre. But yeah. I just don't see where Aussie would make the move beyond Mihai making a mistake and losing a lot of time. They both, Aussie and Viral, both seem to be quite comfortably faster than Mihai. This might be a race one of the pit stops as well. Getting an undercut in these sort of conditions, and then, as long as you can make it to the end, it's usually a decent pace advantage on fresh inters. Yeah, you can see the rain already starting to lighten up. It's not looking like it's going to stop, but it's a lot lighter than it was. And that will make it really interesting as it starts drawing up. 49.1 from Mihai, fastest lap of the race. Yeah, so the interwear is going to be getting pretty much higher lap on lap as the track gets drier. And then the first question is, when do people pit? Flavor's now on the back of Harley as, yeah, those full wets look dead. And surely people will want to go at least to half race distance before they come in. Because they know, if they assume that the wear's only going to get worse later on, once it starts to dry up.
Yes, and I don't know if they patched it over the course of this game cycle, but overheating inters are not always an indicator for a tire change going for the slicks, because sometimes even with the track was drying out, overheating inters are still faster.
Yeah, that's definitely still true. It's just because the tires, especially if you have lower pressures to give you more traction in the rain, that can make it really bad. You get the conditions that are too wet for slicks, but that little bit too dry for the inters, and then you have to be like cooling them down constantly and stuff. And then eventually, because so many people are cooling down the tires, the wet patches disappear, and then you've just got nothing left. And you just kind of have to accept that your race are going to be overheating. Fastest lap share down between the top three again. Now goes to Viral with a 48.2. Yeah, the track's so much drier than it was, but no way that these guys can get through as Flavors has gone past Harley into the final corner, which pretty much shows just how bad those full wets are, that he got overtaken by Flavors there. Yeah, unless Mihai makes a big mistake, I don't see him being overtaken anytime soon. Because the Aussie's best chance was when Mihai went straight into the wall, because that cost him about half a second, and so Aussie was right there. But Aussie isn't quite fast enough to be able to stay close with how these conditions are. And when everyone's on the same wings, he's got no straight line speed advantage. He just needs to do it all through strategy and a little bit of battery management. What's the earliest someone's going to undercut? Like, out of this top 3, someone going for an undercut, how early are they going to go?
Oh,
15? Like, just before half race distance, if they've got, like, quite low wear, they just stick it on some new inters and hope they make it to the end.
I mean, if the rain stays like this, and the tire wear is really that low, I don't know if I would.
With how the rain
I don't
is
know
right
if
now,
I
the
would
tire wear won't be
pit.
that low. I wonder how long it'll be until they start thinking about cooling the tyres. Because the tyre wear will be high. Because it's barely raining now. And you can see how much drier the dry line's getting every lap. Aussie's quite close on this occasion, only 4/10. Will he have enough battery to do it? I'm not sure. He definitely seems to be getting closer lap on lap, because he takes the fastest lap off Mihai every time, and then Viral takes it off him, but Viral's not close enough to do anything just yet, and neither's Aussie. 2.5 tenths coming into turn 7. Mihai's held him off for now, but he'll be feeling that pressure.
Yes, but one thing you can say about Mihai, we always joked about at the start of the season that Mihai can't manage ERS, but as of now, he is the guy with the most of the top 3, which is, especially here, probably the most important thing you can have to defend.
Yeah, it's probably partly that Aussie's taken a few attempts at seeing if he can gain and burning a little bit, like that last lap. Just burning a little bit and seeing, and Mihai's being a bit more confident and assuming he's got enough of a gap and not bothering. But yeah, he does have more than the other two, which is, you know, is a big defense. When there's no straight line speed difference, it's a huge plus for Mihai right now, because, you know, Aussie's having to use his battery to try and stay close because of the dirty air and things like that. But he's just kind of able to be there, and he's not so worried about his straight line speed because he's the one that's in front. Maxi there with the fastest lap of the race as he's starting to close in, which could make it interesting if the two Saubers choose to work together. Yeah, nothing too much changing at this stage. Axon and Edwin, the only two with time penalties. Edwin obviously having that 23 seconds because he just cut the chicane. Aussie's drained the battery completely. He's down to 10% coming into turn 7. And you can tell he really does want that move, but when the time comes, Mihai has what it takes to defend from him, which is just a full battery, pretty much. If he just puts that all down on one straight, there's nothing that Aussie's going to be able to do to get past. And assuming it's no major mistakes from Mihai from here, the only... besides mistakes, probably the only way you lose this is in the pit lane, you think. Because it just seems so impossible to get past. And he's, yeah, as I say that, he's almost got the gap up to a second. 9 tenths coming out of the hairpin. Marcello and Bazooka swapping places as The Haas driver, who's made that stop, having started on the full wets, gets back past the Ferrari. And already opened a gap of over a second, as now Harley looks to be closing in and trying to do the same. 3 seconds there for Lucas down in P12. I believe he also started on those full wets. Fastest lap from Mihai on that occasion. And he's still there, lapping on pace, and if he can just keep it consistent, there really isn't much that can be done to overtake him. And that's basically his only objective at this stage, is just keep doing what he's doing lap after lap. Now you can see it from Viral, it's just not possible to get past. All three of them, like, they seem to be potentially in reverse pace order, but there's nothing that either, like, that any of them can do to go past in these conditions. No DRS, just as much dirty air, and they're just kind of stuck. But definitely Aussie's dropping back from Mihai compared to just a couple of laps ago. I don't know if he's starting to struggle a bit more. Maybe those rears are starting to overheat. I don't know. But Viral's dropping back as well. It's really interesting how the dynamic of this race is going, but not very much is actually happening on the circuit. Yeah, all the gaps just opening themselves up and not very much changing. It's not this stage of the race where nothing actually happens anymore. You'd think a wet Division 3 Singapore race would be more chaotic, but evidently not. I guess the thing with the wet is you're travelling at much slower speeds, it's hard to hit a wall.
Yeah, I think for the race to spice up a little bit, you just need the rain to stop.
Yeah.
So we actually start to see some strategy calls and pit stops and undercuts and this kind of stuff.
And there should be pit stops soon, even if it doesn't dry up, because people in these conditions are unlikely to be able to go the full race on one set of tyres. Yeah, maybe they can. I don't know what any of these guys' tyre wear is looking like, but so I noticed they're just coming up to lap Davido, actually. They're about 5 seconds behind him. Maybe a little bit more. No, I think about 5 seconds. Lucas is in off that second set of inters. Off that first set of inters, because he started on the wets. He's in for a second stop. There's no way he's going onto a slick, is he? No, he's going onto an inter. Which is interesting. Because he's done 5 laps. Oh, is he changing his wing? Oh, he's changing his wing, okay. I was going to say, because he's done 5 laps less than everyone else. It'd be a bit odd if he's coming in for just a tyre wear pit stop. Fast lap there from Viral, down in P3. Sitting 6/10 behind Aussie now. He has closed up a little bit. But he's not got any way of getting past, really. And I think that's going to be the case throughout the field. I think what we really need is a safety car. We need someone to fancy going onto a slick, realise it's very much not dry, just the inters are overheating, and then they're in a wall. I mean, that would make it interesting. But I don't know if anyone's going to do that, because there's not really much point in trying it. Marcelio's in. So he starts on those inters, and that's a wing change as well. Davido's got a straight 3 seconds of corner cutting, as he's now getting himself involved in this fight between... Who's that? That's... he's right in a fight with Lucas, and they're both just in front of Maxi. Maxi's right in the middle of the battle between two orange cars, as there's the Gulf Williams and there's a McLaren, and then there's Maxi, who can't really get away from it. Oh, a bit of contact there as Davido sends it on Lucas. And now he's... Ooh, Mercedes gone off.
That's always.
Oh, he's on
That's
11
always.
lap old wets. Yeah,
He's still on wets.
He pitted for those wets on lap 1, and he's still going strong. Oh, possibly not so strong, because he's down in P12, and not too far away from being lapped. What will the wear be on those full wets? Because they'll be overheating. And they don't look very good. Yeah, he's having to move offline to cool them down. We've not seen anyone on the Inters doing so yet. But I don't think we're a million miles away from that point. Just look how dry the track looks through this section. There's basically no water there at all. Yeah, Owe's still going on those full wets. He may risk a puncture if he stays out. I don't know what his well will be looking like, because they will be overheating, but I don't know how different the full wet tire wear is to the Inters, because I've never used them, because they're rubbish. Mihai, 4/10 up in his previous personal best lap, which it just shows how much the track's drying. David has gone off at the hairpin and rejoins just behind Hicks there. Oh, Mihai! 3 seconds for multiple warnings, and that really could ruin his race as Viral comes in, or maybe he's not, because he's missed the pit lane. He's coming in anyway. He's got a 3-second too. And is Aussie now the favourite for the race win? Viral came in, he went too deep, missed the pit lane, and I think in that situation...
Full wets.
Full wets? He selected the wrong tyre. He didn't select Inters. That...
Surely. It has to be.
That would have been selected by default by the game. Because the game set the default strategy as being a wet to wet. That would have been the default tyre from the game. He only changed the start tyre, didn't change the second tyre, and forgot to change it. So in the span of a few corners, Viral has tried to come into the pits, gone too deep, missed the pit lane, crossed back over, got a 3-second, and now pitted for full wets. It's an absolute disaster class. In the span of one lap.
That happened just not even 10 seconds later that his championship rival got 3-second penalty while leading.
Yeah. And there's a chance Viral gets another penalty for crossing back over that white line. Because I'm fairly sure in that scenario, what you just have to do is carry on. Like what Sainz did in Vegas last year, was it? When he came into the pit lane and then he just cut it, and that was officially classed as track limits warning rather than a penalty for crossing the white line because he stayed out. And so in that situation, surely that's what you got to do. And you'd imagine these top two, are they going to react? Do they know he's on full wet? They're both reacting to him.
Yes, yeah.
Aussie
and Maxi will definitely.
Right
Aussie
onto
Maxi
the
will
curb.
definitely know.
I don't know.
Because they will be in a party with Viral, so they will know that he made the mistake. Maxi stays out with Aussie in the pits.
Has anyone else done the same thing?
I don't think so.
Mihai hasn't. No, they've not made the same mistake.
No.
Which is great for their race. Edwin's having to serve 10 of his 23-second penalties. Maxi stays out and now leads. He's Flavors in second place. Mihai resumes in third. Aussie fourth. So that's all as they were. No change there. Gaps opened up between Aussie and Mihai. Probably in the most part down to Aussie running very deep in the pit lane entry as we saw. 3 second for Lucas there as he's down in 13th place and a lap down to the race leader. He's not lapped to Mihai, who's in the net race lead, but he's lapped to the outright leader. So yeah, it's not good for Lucas. And Vira now down in 10th place behind Harley and Edwin. He'll get back past Edwin because Edwin has a 13-second time penalty. But Harley's got to gain 4 seconds to. Now all Aussie has to do is keep within a couple of seconds of the championship leader, and he takes the race win. And Mihai will, assuming he finishes second, he'll still keep the lead of the championship. He's got that 10-point advantage. But wow, that race changed quickly. The span of 1 lap completely transformed this race, and now quite possibly Maxi will get third. Yeah, he just should. Maxi should be in third.
Yeah, Flavor's the third.
Where's Lucas?
Lucas has retired, but in the pits.
Pit lane, yeah. I saw a yellow flag and someone being out, and I panicked. But
Yeah.
I hate how it gives a yellow flag for someone in the pit lane. There's no need. Just stressing me out. So yeah, now it looks like it's going to be a double podium for Sauber. Where would that put them in terms of Williams and the constructors? They're currently 18 points behind, and they'll be, what, 10 points behind after this race? No, Aussie will win as things stand, so they'll gain 12, I think. No, that doesn't add up. No, they'll gain 22 points, so they should be leading if it stays as is. I think, if I can do maths. I don't know if I can do maths, to be honest. I think that's right.
What I'm trying to think about now is Flavors, because currently leading on his old Inters, but I would like to know how much tire wear his Inters actually are.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was in the middle of nowhere. If there is a chance for him to stay out for at least till the rain stops, do you think he will take the gamble?
Maybe. Depends what his tyre wear's like. Chuck a safety car out now when he's in the lead of the race, but he's defending from Mihai. They are championship rivals, most likely. Oh, there's contact! Between the two of them, Aussie got round! Aussie's got tangled. Mihai takes the race lead. Aussie now, did he pick up damage from that? I think he might have done, yeah. He's missing his left-hand end plate. And now Mihai is in the lead of the race quite comfortably. Does he have damage? He doesn't. Mihai leads 2.5 seconds to Aussie, and his time penalty is going to be pretty much neutralised because of Aussie's damage. What happened there is Mihai sent the lunge into turn 3, and then Aussie just got tangled in it through what seemed to be no fault of his own.
Yeah, no, Mihai just tried something desperate into turn 3 without any reason, actually. Because, yeah, he lost some time. Yeah, he wanted to get past, that is true, but you have so much fresher tires. Get a good exit out of turn 4, you have a long straight in front of you, and then you can send it down the inside into turn 5.
He would have had such better traction, but
yeah. But with that happened, if Flavor sends this into the steerage room, from that what I saw on Aussie's onboard, this thing isn't over.
No.
And all of a sudden, even if he's 7.5 seconds behind Aussie, Maxi is again back in contention.
Yeah, Yeah, 100%. Because if RC really struggles with that damage, you don't know how bad it's going to be. It's only an end plate, but over the course of 12 laps, it's only half second a lap that he would have to lose to Maxi, which for a car struggling with damage, and Maxi will have the 1 lap tire advantage. That could be quite possible that he ends up behind his teammate, and then you don't know how this race is going to end until you see the stewards' verdicts in however many days' time. Realistically, I don't think we're going to know the way this race has gone until that releases.
Yeah, so I don't want to make any verdicts on stream or any predictions, but it looks like a classic 5-second crash. And as of now, Maxi is 10 seconds behind. He still needs to find something. Yeah. He still need to find a little bit, but this thing isn't far from over.
No, 100%. And yeah, you can't predict what's going to happen. We saw, we each saw it from one perspective, but in the moment, you don't know what the other perspectives could show. You don't know how much could be factors that is impossible to tell when spectating. Like a lockup, if you see when spectating, you can't trust it because it can show someone looking up down an entire straight. So, yeah, and Maxi is getting a move on. He sets the first lap of the race there. 10 seconds behind. Aussie isn't out of it either. Don't count Aussie out. He's only lost about a second since the incident, which I want to say was 2 laps ago. And he's only lost a second since, so...
Yeah,
he could...
probably about half a second every lap, which is fine. Probably just needed 1 or 2 laps to just adapt on this damage.
And he should get faster.
But yeah, Flavor's still staying out, so
yeah, Flavors is just a total wild card at this point because you don't know how his tyre wear is going to be, how quick he's actually going to be, whether he's going to puncture. Because realistically...
Yeah, because if he's pitting now, he's coming around Harley, definitely behind Viral.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for him it's now basically all or nothing.
I mean, he's got 14 seconds behind the picks. He can afford to lose a second a lap. And he'll still be in that P4. So, it's worth the risk. So long as he can make it to the line. Aussie on this lap's lost about 3/10 to Mihai, which is... Yeah, he's acclimatizing to that damage, definitely.
And now Maxi is right behind him and he needs to get past him as soon as possible.
He won't want to repeat what happened a couple of laps ago. He's going to take the inside, and Flavors has made that a lot easier than he did for Mihai. And Maxi now into 3rd place. He's got 10.6 seconds to Mihai, which he won't catch all of it, but he might not need to catch all of it. We'll see. Definitely his teammate overhead will be gettable if he chooses to. I don't know what how the Saubers will choose to handle this. Yeah, and Mihai with that 3 seconds, you never know, he could get another one.
Yes, let's see, Mihai has...
Davido's on slicks.
Is he? Okay.
Davido's on slicks.
I mean, it's
still raining.
It's still Davido. It's still raining, yeah.
It's still raining. I think the prediction of putting Davido to win every race in Division 3 might not have been the most likely to be true. I put it because it was funny, but I don't think I'm going to get very many points in the Predictions Championship for that. Davido is crawling out of the pits. Yeah, it is not medium tyre weather.
Definitely not.
Yeah, no way. If we're lucky, To certain definitions of lucky, right? We're either going to get... Oh, Virus got past Bazooka there. Moving up into 7th place. He'll be able to get past Edwin as well. Bazooka doesn't have a penalty. Fast lap of the race there from Maxi, who really is getting a move on. He's into the 10 seconds. And, yeah, we will very much just have to wait and see how this race ends. But depending on what you want to happen, you could say, if we're lucky, Davido will bring out a safety car. Or you can say, if we're lucky, he won't. Yeah. It depends what you want in this race. Entertainment-wise, it'd be great if we get a safety car. But... And Aussie's kept the gap... Aussie's actually closed in a little bit. He's got the gap back down to 3.8.
Yeah.
Which I noticed.
That's true. So Mihai is probably, as of now, I don't want to say the slowest of these three, but if you keep in mind that Aussie has wing damage,
Yeah.
he's definitely not showing the pace that he's supposed to show, because Max is gaining,
Yeah.
and only if it's just a couple of tenths a lap, we have 10 laps to go, which for now it's completely enough.
Yeah. And if Maxi gets into... I think both Saubers will aim to be within 8 seconds of Mihai as their ultimate goal. And
Aussie
anything
gained,
close to that is a...
Aussie gained half a second on
Yeah.
Mihai.
Fast lap from Owise down in P13.
43.9 against a 42.9 from Aussie. He sets the fastest lap with wing damage.
Faster than his
And-
teammate as well.
That is really interesting.
Yeah. Flavors is in, finally. He's not going to make it to the end. But he's going to have very fresh tyres in which he can close down. Yeah, he is going on to Inters. But they will be very new Inters, and he can push.
He will come out behind Harley, just about.
Yeah, we close. But Harley's on very old tyres. 14 laps old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Flavors will work his way back up, definitely. Could he get to around where Viral is? Maybe. He'll get past Harley. And I think he already is ahead on net after penalties. And then Edwin as well is net on penalties. He's pretty much ahead already. I don't know if that fastest lap from Aussie has been a bit of a wake-up call for Mihai. Yeah, he's 6 tenths up on his personal best fastest lap. I think Aussie setting the fastest lap was a bit of a wake-up call for him. Bazooka with a 3-second time penalty. He's on slicks as well. We've got 2 cars now on the slick tyres. Marcelio's in. I don't know if their games are telling them to pit the slicks. Marcelio's going for slicks as well. Are they being told by the game that it's time for the slick?
No. I have the gap to leader and Bazooka, which I would say is probably the best
he's losing
indicator
time.
for pace wise. He's still losing time,
Yeah.
and he's losing a lot.
Yeah.
Like a second every sector.
And my game told... I did a race similar to this a couple of weeks ago, and my game told me to pit for hard with 3 laps to go when it was still raining. At Silverstone, mind you. Like, it recommended I drop back 30 seconds to go to hard when it was still raining. So the game is not always right.
It's not. I mean, I won Silverstone last season in Division 2 by pitting onto hards while it was still raining. So it's always a sweet spot to find
Yeah,
under these conditions.
100%. But Aussie and Mihai are going to be very interesting to observe. Because it's now 4.5 seconds. Mihai seems to gain through the middle sector and lose through the last 2. I'm not sure. Will be very interesting.
Oh, hard yellow flags for, I don't know, Marcelio? I think
Possibly.
so. Because he's ghosting.
Yeah. Oh no, that would be that's just because he's lapped. Might be Davido. He's 2 laps down now. Yeah, it's interesting because the gap was up to about 4.5 seconds, and it's now down to 3.7. Aussie seems to be so much faster in the last sector compared to Mihai. He gains all the time there. 43.3 on that occasion from...
Oh, but Maxi did a big mistake.
Yeah, Maxi. There's the yellow flag. Yeah, he's 10 seconds.
He's 15 seconds behind Mihai now.
Yeah.
I don't know
He's
what
lost a
happened
lot
there.
of time.
Yeah, he has wing damage.
Yeah, we've gone
Wing
to the
damage,
wall, down to the
left.
hairpin, possibly. I don't know. Yeah, that's going to be big for Sauber's race. Because now...
Yeah, but
Maxi was
yeah,
closing-
because they were in a fight for a possible 1-2.
Yeah. Everyone's going on to slicks now. It seems to be those sort of
They
conditions, even though it's still raining. It seems to be that the slicks are faster. Will these leaders pit? And if they do, will Aussie change the front wing? Is the biggest question, really.
I don't think he should.
Probably not. It depends how bad the damage is, but Edwin's got another
Oh, Edwin.
10-second time bounty. He's collecting them. He's just served 2 and he's got another one. Flavor's now P5, has only just pitted for Inters. Flavor's is low on fuel as well. His fuel light's just gone yellow. Oh, Flavor's in trouble.
Yeah, I think Flavor's always under fuels.
Yeah, but
But yeah, that is
He's
by
pretty-
this time of the race,
yeah, he's pretty
it's
much
a bit
neutral.
concerning. Yeah.
Mihai's in. Aussie stays out and sets the fastest lap.
Oh.
So Mihai will get an undercut on Aussie, regardless of whether whether Aussie pits or not. Maxi's in as well, so the Saubers aren't going to try to... I was wondering if Maxi would stay out to try and hold Mihai up, but no. None of that. Viral is going to get ahead. He's going to be close with Mihai actually at the pit exit. Viral's going to be just about side by side with Mihai even. As Mihai almost repeats what just happened to him with Flavors. And now we'll see what the pace
Yeah,
of the slicks is like. Viral just set the fastest
Yeah,
lap.
Viral will be faster for now because
DRS is on.
mediums just. Oh, DRS is on.
DRS is on. Here comes Mihai. Going to try the outside line. He's going to be quite far enough ahead. Not quite. As they drift through the corner, but he's got the inside line. And this time, I think he does have it done. Bazooka on the mediums sets the fastest lap of the race. Viral will have cost Mihai that tiny bit of time.
Oh yeah.
Is it enough for... will that tiny bit of time be enough for Aussie? Probably not, but when he comes in the pits,
Yeah,
it
but
will
yeah,
help.
He's gaining. He's
If
gaining a
he
lot.
comes into the pits, I should say.
Mihai's gaining a lot now. So this is Mihai probably hit the best timing for
Yeah.
the Inters.
Aussie's going to stay out. Aussie must be committing to going to the end of the race. There's 5 laps
Yeah.
to go. 5
And I
laps.
think
Mihai
that's
needs about
reasonable.
4 seconds a lap.
I think that's reasonable for
Yeah.
Aussie. If this tire are lasting to
actually-
the end, that's very reasonable.
All he needs to do, he doesn't even need to finish ahead of Mihai. At the very least, he needs to finish within 3 seconds. But if he's banking on a penalty, he needs to finish within 8 of Mihai. So honestly,
So basically, Mihai needs to
risk.
find 30 seconds in the last 5 laps,
yeah.
which is 6 seconds a lap.
And he's gained a lot on this lap. He's gained...
He did, yeah, but
he's
it's
gained
still
a
not enough.
lot, But it's 20 seconds, 5 laps to go. He still needs 4 seconds a lap. Picks fastest lap now. Another fastest lap being set on the slicks. I noticed Maxi seems to be really slow. Oh, did he change his wing when he pitted, possibly? Is that why he lost so much time to Mihai? Because he's now like 20-odd
He did-
seconds behind.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, because I wondered how he's lost so much time. Edwin's got another penalty. How long till this guy gets disqualified? He's on another 19, having previously had 20. Edwin's got 39 seconds over the course of this race.
Yeah, he can be lucky that he served to 20 seconds in the pits.
Yeah, I think he can still be disqualified even if you surf them. I mean, to be fair, I did a race where I had over 2 minutes before I... Oh, 3 seconds for Maxi. But down in P5, is that going to hand... That's going to hand the position to Pix, really, who's only 2 seconds behind him. No, I did a race where I had over 2 minutes of bounties without being disqualified. That was funny.
Flavors now has 2 missing end plates.
One on either side. Yeah.
Yes.
So those tyres are not the tyres they once were. Fast lap of the race with Mihai. He's gained 4 seconds on this last lap. So he is gaining at the rate he needs to if he wants to catch and pass. But that's not accounting for potential penalties, or not even current penalties. 4 laps to go, 16 seconds is the gap.
Oh.
It's going to be very, very close. It's going to quite possibly come down to the last straight, and if it does so, that's perfect for Rossi, because then he can just wave Mihai through and not worry about the penalty. You know, because then he doesn't need to worry about fighting, because he can just let him through, and then he just gets it after the 3 second penalty, and even more so if there's a further penalty added. It makes perfect sense for Rossi to stay out, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
It would have made sense whichever strategy he did, to be honest. Like, if he had picked, because he could just play it safe, but he's gone for the slightly riskier strategy, and it could quite possibly work. Mihai is gaining faster than he needs. Mihai will overtake him before the end, I reckon. Because he's going to get the gap down to 12 seconds by about the last chicane. So it'll be, it's 12 seconds now. So he's a couple of corners ahead of where he needs to be to catch and pass, if you put it that way. So Maxi now past Flavors. Oh, he's not past Flavors, because Flavors is fighting him back. Maxi gets the DRS, and he's got 2 straights to do it in. He'll get a much better run. Ozzy's in! Ozzy's pitching!
I think
he panicked.
that... No, I don't think he panicked. I just think that the Inters are now way too overcooked and he just couldn't make it to the end.
Yeah. I mean, he was trying, and then he realised the strategy's not going to work, and now he's 15 seconds behind. If you were going to pit for slicks, you had to do it about 3 laps ago when everyone else did. Because he just lost 4 seconds a lap for a few laps for no long-term benefit. It's going to be it quite possibly will be a Salvador podium. Pix is going to try and get himself involved in it, as he's going to go past Flavors here into turn 7. He's now 2 seconds behind Maxi, which is all he does need for the podium at this stage. But it's now a 15-second gap. Aussie's on new softs. Are these new softs? Yeah, I suppose they must be.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I don't know if it shows them as being 0 laps if they're a quali scrub set. I'm not sure, but those might have done a quali lap on them. But surely there's no way Mihai loses this now.
Yeah, I think for everyone who stayed out on Inters, apart from Flavors because he's still on his Inters, they probably just misjudged the tire wear by the time it stops raining.
Yeah, that's true, because they were going to have to do so long on them. There's Mercedes after that. Owise, who's facing the wrong way at turn 1. Another 3 seconds for Viral. What's that put him up to now? Puts him up to 6 seconds. As he goes past Bazooka there around the outside into chicane. Can he get it done? No, he can't, because he goes a little bit off the track. And he has to give up that position to the Haas car with a 6-second time penalty as well. He needs to get past and clear him by 3 seconds in the next 2 laps, which seems unlikely for the Red Bull. And how differently could this race have gone if... Ooh, 3 seconds for Pix and that. Although he had dropped back. Solidifies the Salvador podium here. Flavors in P5 isn't going to be able to close.
Nah, Maxi has 6 seconds.
Maxi has 3. Maxi
I thought he already had one.
No, Maxi's only got
Okay,
3.
no, then it's okay. Then it's a solo double podium winner.
Yeah. And with Pix being 4 seconds behind, it should be fairly safe. Yeah, Aussie went for the risk. I said the safe strategy would have been following Mihai in, because that's all he needs to do. He just needed to stay within, like, he was 4 seconds back fairly consistently. He needed to finish within, if we're saying 8 seconds of the guy, and he would have been fine. But he took the risk, which, you know, you got to commend it, taking the risk. But now Mihai starts the final lap, 15 seconds in the race lead. And it's going to be a Salvador podium. And they're going to gain 8 points in the Constructors. Fastest lap again from Maxi as he's pulling away from Pix behind. As Viral and Bazooka still battling it out. Viral, I think, finally has got a header, has he not? Because Bazooka goes round the outside of the final corner. And Viral is going to be limited to P7 in the race results because he's got that 6-second time penalty, but he would have at least liked that P6 on track, but he's not going to be able to get it. 3 seconds for Rakusin down in P9. He's going to lose out to... Oh, no, he won't quite. It's going to be close with Harley, with the gap being 6.5 seconds. But as it stands, he will get that P9. But Mihai, as he comes into the final sector, it's been such an... You know, it's a race that's been full of twists and turns for the Williams driver. But he's been in the like, he's been in the lead for pretty much every single lap. But there were so many points where it didn't look like he was going to claim this victory. But in the end, he's got through all of it, despite the 3-second penalty. He comes around the final corner, and in the end, it's quite a comfortable margin that he wins the Singapore Grand Prix by, as Aussie, 14 seconds behind as he crossed the line. Mihai wins. Aussie is going to take second place. Akasin's going very slowly at the end. The two Haas cars fighting it out right on the last lap as Bazooka gets past Flavors. Flavors surely just going to have to tug it behind, and Viral goes spearing into the wall, as does Edwin on the final lap. Edwin's lost his front wing, Viral's gone off as well, and that really just summarises how his race has gone. Edwin gets ahead of Flavors as well, who's run out of fuel at the end. I think it's going to be Bazooka P5 with Flavors P6, Viral P7, I want to say. After time penalty, yeah, Viral P7, Edwin in P8. Harley and Akasin are the last two that we're waiting for on crossing the line. Akasin has a rear puncture.
Oh.
The Inters did not make it. He crashed into the wall as well. And it's going to be... will he score points? Yeah, he technically will, because everyone else is classified. Yeah, it's Harley P9. Akasin ends the race in the barriers. But he still will get that last point. As my game doesn't fancy loading the end screen, because why would it? Why would my game load the end screen? No, we're just not getting it, are we? But yeah, Mihai wins at the end, and I doubt it will end up being decided in the stewards' room just because of how huge his margin was of 14 seconds.
Yeah, no. I think with that gap, his win is sealed for now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big win for him, ending the 2025 on a high, gaining a lot of points on Viral, and Kick Sauber Austrian double podium. Also, very good results for him. They both had the pace for fight Mihai for the race win. And Pix in P4 could have gone on the podium, but with 3 seconds in the end.
Yeah, he was too far back anyway.
Yeah.
But
yeah, then Haas in P5 and P6. Then Vire with the spin in the end, but still in P7. Edwin with this time penalty madness he had over the course of the race, still in P8. But yeah, this season, with halfway to go, is gonna be very, very interesting.
And it's only 6 races in, isn't it? It's still over half the season, but yeah, it's sort of the
Yeah.
halfway point, even though there's still another 12 races to go, including all 3 sprints, which should be interesting in the next race. But yeah, that was fun at the end. It was a bit. There were points where that race should have been. There were points where the race seemed like it was going to be pretty awful, but yeah, that was interesting. What would have happened if Ossie tried to stay out? Do you reckon? Would he have punctured, or would he have just made it?
I think he would have punctured.
Yeah. I think if he simply just followed him in, he would have been fine. And he took the risk. You got to commend the risk taking. But yeah, it didn't work out. Viral, Ossie, Maxi, Mihai all had their moments in that race, but in the end, Mihai had the least moments, and that's how he ended up on top. What would have happened if Viral had just set the right tyre in the pit stop and not gone onto a full wet by mistake? Yeah, that one would have been...
Oh.
There would have been something there. Yeah.
Yeah, probably one of the many race decisive moments.
Yeah.
Difficult to pick one, but yeah, that probably played a big part.
Yeah.
Because the undercut he would have made on Mihai, at least.
To be fair, he did also just mess up the pit lane entry as well, which didn't help. But
yeah, that's true as well.
Yeah. And it was more fun than it could have been. That could have been really dull at the end, but... Yeah. But... Mihai extends his championship lead up to quite a bit now. I don't know who would take second as things stand. Possibly Flavors? Maybe Ossie? No, might actually be Viral.
No.
It's Viral still, probably.
Viral stays.
Yeah, I was just thinking because Viral didn't score any points, but he's got a decent enough lead over those behind him. Yeah. And Sauber close in the Constructors, but Williams still lead it. Into the winter, Mihai and Williams leading the 2 championships, and... Yeah. So that was all we get for Division 3 in 2025, which feels weird today because we've only had 6 races, but that's all you get for this year. And hopefully we get the full year of Division 3 chaos in the new year once we get through the winter break, Christmas and all that. 6th of January, I believe, is when we are back again on a Tuesday. I think, isn't it? Yeah, 6th of January, when we're back on Tuesdays. There should also hopefully be a stream for Division 2 and 1 this weekend. Not 100% sure on that, though. But, yeah. Unless you have anything else to say, I believe we're pretty much done here for the night.
Yeah, it was a calm but fun race. Not much battles going on track, but very strategic race. So still very much to watch. But yeah, for me that's it.
Yeah. So that should be it then, as obviously that incident between Flavors and Mihai definitely seems to be on its way into the steward's office, and I'm sure they'll have fun dealing with that one. Hopefully we'll see any of the viewers tomorrow evening for Division 2, if not on Saturday, or maybe in a couple of weeks' time when we come back after Christmas in the new year for the Monza Sprint as well. Sprint and race, replacing qualifying, isn't it? It's 25 instead of quali. Right? For the sprint format? I think that is. Yeah, no qualifying, 25% sprint race, 50% feature race decided by quali. Yeah, so sprint is the first race back. Hopefully people haven't completely forgotten how to drive. Hopefully people aren't too hungover from New Year or whatever. And yes, that should be fun. And I think we shall hope to see you then.